what's up, Scrappy peeps? It's Adele from Inkie Quill, and today we're getting crafty. We're playing with craft coloured paper. Now, it's not something that I'm comfortable with. I will tell you straight off the bat, I was a little frightened when I started. I do love the look of craft paper. I love other layouts that people make, but I don't know what it is. I think because I'm so used to the bright white cardstock, I find craft, which is this brown colour if you're not sure, really, really hard to work with. But I was going through my stash looking for some music-y type paper, and I found this, and it was just too perfect for these photos of Archie and my dad and his guitar. And so to tone it down a little bit, I'm just getting some white Dilutions paint, and I'm just going to paint a big splodgy spot in the middle, kind of like a mat for my photos. Now, my dad plays guitar, and when he was younger, he used to be in rock bands, and he was this cool surfy dude, tan, surfing, music, rock star, much more cooler than I ever am, much more cooler than I am and ever will be. I definitely don't get my coolness passed down from my dad. So I'm just adding this white paint here, and I did do 2 coats, but because the craft is quite a dark color, you can still see it through the white paint, which I did like. I didn't mind that. When I dried it, however, it kind of went this weird pinky cream kind of color, which is different. I don't know why it did that. See how it's just that little bit, it's not white. So now I'm using some whipped spackle, and I'm just putting this through a stencil. I think this is an old stencil from a Hip Kit Club subscription a few years ago possibly. And I just wanted to do something geometric in the background that wouldn't interfere with the music notes. I didn't want to make the background too colourful or too busy, so I just thought leaving the whipped spackle white and not like tinting it with a coloured paint or a coloured mist was the way to go. So I'm just going to mat my picture, my black and white picture, on some white tissue paper. I'm trying to keep this layout quite neutral, and the photos kind of lead itself to that, because this photo is black and white and can literally go with any colour that you throw at it. And the other one is really warm toned. It's got the warm brown of my parents' floorboards, and then just the black and white of my dad's shirt and their dog, who's just eagerly looking on in the corner there. And I really love these photos. Archie was kind of just pulling himself up on everything at this point. I think these were from maybe end of November, December last year. And he was, I think so, or maybe they're this year. No, I think they're last year. And he was just pulling himself up on, no, they are this year. Sorry, scratch that. He was pulling himself up on everything, and he pulled himself up on the guitar and was playing with the strings. And so my dad was holding down different chords and playing different notes as Archie strung his fingers along, which was really, really sweet. I'm using some white graph paper that I just bought from a big pile of it from Officeworks. I really love the look of graph paper. If I ever buy notebooks, graph is almost always my go-to, or graph grid, whatever you may call it. And I just love the way it looks. I hate lined note paper. Is anyone else the same? Does anyone prefer graph grid to lined? I really want to, this is just a tangent on my stationery obsession here. I really want to try a dot grid notebook. I've never tried them before, but I have drooled over them on the internet. So I'm hoping to one day in my travels stumble across a dotted gridded notebook that I can persuade to come home with me and hopefully use it and not just have it sit in my stash for too long. So here I'm doing something a little bit sneaky, and I ripped off the bottom of that grey heart paper, and I've just turned it around to do a little flash of blue, because I think it's nice. It kind of tunes in with the onesie that Archie was wearing this day, and it gives a very, very subtle nod of colour to this layout, because it does end up quite a neutral, just not bright kind of layout, which is I love the way it turns out in the end. But I feel like just a little little sneaky hint of colour just here and there is really nice as well. Just using my double-sided sticky tape, and remember, when you do mixed media on your page, especially texture paste, it changes the way that adhesives stick. So if you're using double-sided tape and you've got things like modelling paste underneath or chunky thick paint, you will need to add more because it's a bit more difficult for adhesives to stick to mediums like that. Really, I should have done both of them in the glue, but I only thought of that for the second photo. So next up, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for a title, because I've got this big white spot here which is kind of asking for a title, and I decided to go for a bit of a subtle one. I talked about in a video a little while ago about trying to use up my word thickers, because there's something that just hang around in my stash and I'm really trying to use them when I can. So I decided to go for thank you for being you, because Archie and Poppy, which is what we call my dad, they have a really special bond together, and often he prefers to be with Poppy than his own mum and dad. And so I definitely wanted to just say thanks, Dad, for being Dad. I think that my dad is very glad to have a grandson, because he's often outnumbered by the girls, because we have a really close-knit family, and he's often left when we vote for things. He's often left out because it's my mum, my nan and I versus him. Sure, Aaron's there as well, but Aaron often sides with me, and I think Dad is going to enjoy having a grandson to kind of have a bit of blokey fun with. So I'm just sticking down all of these stickers, and I kind of wish that I had moved the thank you up a little bit, because I was having trouble with the U, because the gold was blending in too much just to the photo. The black was blending in too much, and you couldn't really see it properly. So I decided to go through my little Patreon pouch. This is a little pouch that I keep all my Patreon printables in. When I print them out to do the reveal on Patreon, I always print out an extra set for me to use. And I think there's a label set, which I think it might be my third copy of, because I've used them quite a bit. And I decided to just squish in that little U and put it on one of those labels, just to make it so that you can see it a little bit more. It's not my favorite placement of a title, but it works. It does the job. So now it's time to find some embellishments, and I will save you a bit of the and ahhing. I ummed and ahed a lot for this layout, because I don't know, I think I needed something a certain size, and everything I was picking up was way too big, and it wasn't going to work. It was going to cover up too much of the photos. And so I start by grabbing a couple of little pieces from this Cocoa Vanilla ephemera piece, and I'm trying to make it work, trying to see what I can squeeze in. And I saved you a lot of fussing around then, but I ended up sticking a couple of DIY embellishments that I previously made. I probably made them on a Patreon video, and this little wild child, which is actually from a boy collection by Crepe Paper, I think. And I wanted to bring out a little bit more of that blue, so I decided to choose that blue Little Moments, because it was just a little everyday moment. And then that Hello Weekend up the top. To tell you the truth, I'm not actually sure if it was the weekend, but it very well could have been the weekend, and it's the weekend now. So we're just going to go with that. I'm also adding some of these little stars that my friend sent me, and putting a couple here, a couple there. By the way, in my final photos, you can always see the wet glue, because I take the photos immediately after filming the video, because otherwise I will forget, and then the photos won't get taken, and it will take forever to edit the video, because you can always see the wet glue, but it does dry clear. I should say that, because I've noticed in a couple of my photos the glue is really splurging out from behind some of the thicker embellishments that I stick down, but it does dry clear. It's just that someone's a little impatient to wait to take the photos, so you just get to see the white glue. So then everything needs a little gold star, so I'm just adding a few little gold stars and little gold hearts just here and there. And in the end, I really love this layout. I think that I needed that white paint in the background to kind of calm down the music notes, because it is quite dark paper, and with the dark photos as well, I think it would have all blended in a little bit, but by just doing that little bit of white paint, it really does distinguish the difference between the foreground of the layout and the background. So here I've just done some journaling on another one of my Patreon printable labels, and now it's time for some Hardy Shine. Shake, 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 shake your Hardy Shine, shake your Hardy Shine. Where am I going to put it? See if you can guess. A little bit there, a little bit freaking everywhere. I was feeling the Hardy Shine this day, and the Hardy Shine just went everywhere, but I generally keep it in a diagonal. So if I do some in one bottom corner, I'll do some in another top corner, just to kind of balance it out. And I think I also wanted to put a little bit on that white paint as well. So the layout's almost finished. It's time for a doodly border possibly, and a little cork heart. I love these cork hearts, and I just got sent them, and I've fallen in love with them again because I used them all up the first time that I had them, and I was really sad. You know, when there's those embellishments that you just love so very much, but you want to use them so that you can enjoy them even more, but when you do finish the packet, you are a little bit sad about it. That was those hearts. So when I saw them again in a beautiful package that an inklet sent me, I was very happy. I squealed in delight. So adding a bit of a doodly border here, and this pen is dead. That pen needs to go in the bin, so I'm just calling in for replacement and adding a doodly border. It doesn't add that much, but I think it was needed on this page. It just, with the busyness of the background and the music notes, it just needed something to rein it all in. And it's all done. I'm all finished. Let me know in the comments if you've been enjoying my pattern paper escapades, and if you've been enjoying a little bit of a change every now and then with a pattern paper background instead of just the white cardstock. Don't forget, turn on that bell notification if you're a subscriber, so you get notified when I upload a video, and have a lovely day. See you next time. Bye.